So, Nick Spanjer, come on up, buddy. Yeah.
I'm bringing this.
Bring it, yes, absolutely. How are you, buddy?
Good, man.
Good.
How you doing, man? Good.
Hey. Nick, man.
Hey, how are
How's it
you?
going? Good. You see, you were ready.
Yeah, I was ready.
Yeah.
That's my first one, I swear.
Yeah?
Yep.
Is his mic on? You're good? Oh, okay.
Am I?
Check.
Yep.
All
Everyone
right.
hear me?
There
All
it
right.
is.
Cool.
How's it going, man?
Perfect.
Good.
Great. Yeah.
You're a photographer.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, look at that.
Was that me? There we go.
Oh, man. Where's that at?
That's outside of Banff, the city, actually. That's it's called Mount Rondel.
Mount Rondel.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Cool.
As opposed to Grundle. Yeah. Can I say that? Sorry. Probably shouldn't say that.
When did you get started in photography?
Both of my parents are photographers.
Really?
Yeah. They're very Nikon.
Worked in film?
They both went to Eastern. My dad, he was the editor of the Easterner back in the 70s for like 3 years, and fancied himself a photographer. So, yeah.
Journalistic photographer.
Yeah, so he tried his best to raise me as one as well.
Yeah.
And they've been giving me hand-me-downs for quite a while.
Did you take any lessons or training?
Yeah, I did. In middle school and high school, I did a bit, messed around in dark rooms.
And your parents were able to teach you a lot, though?
Yeah, they taught me a lot. As much as I didn't want to do it, I jumped around and just kind of went about it. Yeah. So, yeah.
If people who don't know or don't follow Nick, your handle is Alleyworks.
Yep.
You can find his stuff. He does everything. I mean, nature, fashion, and music.
Yeah, the music is fun, man.
Is that your favorite too?
Yeah, because like a lot of the time I get to know the bands, and they're like, "Yeah, you're on the list," and I get to go into shows, and
Well, this is a pretty amazing racket that you've built. That you pretty much give free, amazing photography.
I
for
do,
bands.
man. And like the thing is, I work at a bank.
Yeah.
And like I went to school to be a technical writer, and like this is just fun for me, man.
Yeah.
Like I have a good time doing this, and it's a cool hobby to have.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like maybe at some point it'll become a thing where I can pay my bills with it.
Yeah,
that'd be cool and everything. But until then, I'm gonna keep
keep making it a fun thing.
Yeah, I don't see any point in it. Being one of those guys that's like, hey man, like I took pictures at your show.
$200.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not gonna be that guy. No, I'm gonna keep having fun with it.
Well, it's been great for my band.
Yes. Yeah. Like I have a lot of fun with. I've been to a few Nat Park shows.
Yeah. And it's crazy. You don't even.
There it is. This is the one right here.
People who do or don't do photography, he doesn't do flash. He works with natural light. And if you've ever been to a rockin' show, venues are poorly lit.
I love Berserk, and I love everyone that works at Berserk.
Yeah.
But
no light.
I've sent you a few from your shows at Berserk, and without a flash there, it's like
rough.
death.
Yeah.
You
got that laminates one recently though. That was
it was okay. It fits their style of music. I guess,
right? Yeah.
It's just
very gritty,
kind of raw and gritty.
Yeah.
I guess. But
that one.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Here we go.
Wow, that guy is. Oh, that's
that
me.
guy.
But you do the nature stuff. Do you go seek that stuff out, or is it just when you're out and about and you just happen to see?
So luckily, my parents are big fans of the Canadian Rockies.
Oh, okay.
And I'm there usually once a year.
Yeah.
In the summer when it's early summer when it's not snowy and
just right.
Just right.
Yeah.
And we kind of drive all over. This last summer we
do food.
I do food. Actually, Joe at the observatory.
Yeah.
He and I started doing pictures, I don't know, a year and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
He does private dinners for people that are fairly well off that can afford to pay him. And he brings me along, and I do a lot of food pictures, and he pays me in, I get every plate, which is like
You're like that
a lot
doctor
of
in a
money.
small town who will take a chicken
Exactly, I'll
for
take a chicken.
Atticus Finch, I'll take a bag of potatoes.
a barter photographer.
Seriously.
That's great.
I don't mind.
Do you like doing the food? Is that
Oh, the food's fun, man. 'Cause
Yeah?
I get to eat all of these things and pretend like I know what I'm talking about.
right?
you
Yeah,
know, like-
real highfalutin.
Yeah.
That's great.
Know how to pronounce radicchio,
doing
you know?
the nature stuff, or even and you do a lot of stuff of the town too, of the city. And,
yeah,
Is
yeah.
there any like weird, dangerous moments you've had? Like
Not in Spokane, no. Like I live literally in an alleyway, which is a blessing and a curse.
Right.
It's kind of cool,
Yeah, yeah.
I love
Mysterious.
it. Yeah. But this last summer we were up in the Purcell Mountains in British Columbia.
Okay.
And it was like 5 p.m. and we got up pretty high on this. I was with my family, and my brother-in-law and my sister were with me, and my brother-in-law is a firefighter, and we got pretty high up, and what we were aiming for was this cabin that was up on a glacier, or up near a glacier,
Uh-huh.
and God, we were like 2 miles away. But it was like 5 p.m. The sun was going to go down
Sure.
in like 2.5 hours.
You got that twilight.
And
time.
I was like, I think I can make it. I didn't have a map or anything to prove this. I was just like looking, and I was like, I think I can make it. And the rest of my family was like, no, dude, like, what are you doing? You're stupid. So, of course, I start sprinting up a mountain, like literally, like, and
elevation guy.
yeah, there's like bear signs everywhere, and just like, I was like, I'm gonna make it. I didn't have bear spray or anything, but I get to this portion where it's only.
I really hope this ends with you fist fighting a bear.
Well, I wish it did. I punched a shark in the nose.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I get to this portion where, and I'm by myself, and I get to this portion where it's just someone had cut out stone steps, like literally, like, but it's like the elevation's like straight up.
Straight up.
There were chains where I had to like
Yeah.
pull myself up, and sun is going down below the mountains at this point, and I'm like almost there. I can feel it.
Just chasing the light.
I wasn't almost there at all, but I just kept going because I'm dumb, and like anyway, it got to a point where I physically like fat wise couldn't do it anymore. I was just huffing and puffing, and I was like, I can't do this. So I finally turned around, but I didn't realize like I had walked like 2 hours upward, and it's like dark.
Right.
So I'm coming down, and I could barely see them. They're like specks, like,
Yeah.
and they're way off in the distance. So I'm literally running downhill, falling down, and like, I'm trying to go down ladders, and I'm soaked in sweat.
Yeah.
And honestly, alongside the ride of me all the way down is just cliff face.
Yeah.
It felt like, when you're in a dream and you're like trying to run away from something?
Yeah.
That's how it felt.
Like slow motion.
Like, I was like, I'm probably going to die here. It's
Right.
fine. Like, this is a cool way to die, Like, they're just going to assume I'm dead.
He went doing what he loved.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's the closest I've never run into, like, any weird alley people or anything.
Yeah.
but
Okay.
Not
Well,
yet,
good.
at least.
Fingers
We'll
crossed.
see what happens.
Right?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you do a podcast. You have a podcast network, really.
Yeah.
Cinema Abysmal.
Yep.
Uh,
Cinema Abysmal. Yep.
Yeah. Cinema Abysmal.
Yeah.
Which
I thought it was
on
a
the
cool name when I came up with it, but literally no one can pronounce
like
it.
9 out of 10 band names I've ever heard. But what is that? You just I can tell what that one's about. I was on the last episode.
You were.
Check that out.
He was the guest for our season finale of season 2.
Yeah.
Which was, an honor. Like, that was to
And
have,
you
to have
guys
a
just
celebrity on.
But to talk about movies, you guys basically talk about movies. And,
Yeah. So, let's see. 5 years back, I got asked by a friend, Holly, who's
on the show.
the host of our podcast. she actually asked me to join this kind of strange collective of people from across the country for a site called Power Ranks.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, hey, we don't have any movie guys, and you're a movie guy. And she's like, will you do movie reviews? And I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. So once a month, they'd have me do a movie review for new movies that came out. And I finally got in touch with the editor, and I was like, hey, man, you mind if I do, like, something for bad movies? Because I was a big fan of How Did This Get Made? I don't know if you guys have heard that podcast, but
Big fan.
I'm a huge fan of bad movies. I don't know why, but
Oh, they're amazing.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, hey, can I do a feature spot for like really, really, really bad movies? So I was like purposefully seeking out 0% Rotten Tomatoes rated movies. And so I did that once a month, and finally the site folded. The guy got a real job, and he's like, I'm done. So we all like lost our jobs, which was like no big deal.
Right.
But at the same time, I was like, that doesn't
I
seem
could
that
do
hard.
that.
I could start a website.
Yeah.
So I bought a domain and like started a website and got Holly back, and I got my other friend Eric back, and we started writing little mini reviews. Like she was doing Game of Thrones episode recaps, and
Sure.
he was writing stuff about Criterion movies because he's that guy, And, I kept doing the bad movie thing, and just called it Cinema Abysmal. And actually, the website's called cinemaabysmal.com. And finally, I was like, Holly actually was like, hey, man, I think we could make money if we did a podcast.
Yeah.
More money's cool, Like,
Right,
that sounds good. So we started it like 2 years ago, and we got on iTunes and every other thing. We just got on Spotify,
Yeah.
And, now we're up to 35 episodes just for that one. And since then, we've expanded 3 more podcasts, There's one called Ed Wood, Jesus Do, which is about cult films.
Yeah.
There's one called, I can't say it on here, but it's called Just F Already. I'll call it that.
Okay, yeah.
Which is about...
It's really good, actually.
Yeah.
That's Holly's show.
This Holly's show,
Yeah.
with another woman in Florida named Yoli. And they talk about romance novels and kind of analyze when those 2 characters should have, done the deed in the first place. Right. And it's hilarious. That one's our biggest one by far.
Yeah.
And then we got a new one coming out called Buckle Up with Nate Geddes.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. Some people probably know Nate Geddes. He's a barfly like I am.
Mm-hmm.
But that one we're going to have, I don't want to say well-known people in Spokane, but, people that people know in Spokane telling their weirdest story, and then we're just going to talk about it. And,
Oh, cool.
hopefully that's going to come out soon. We haven't really gotten to it yet.
Yeah.
But, So yeah, we're rolling with that, and hopefully that'll become a thing at
It's
some
cool.
point.
It's growing. It's really all of those podcasts you mentioned are I've listened to all of them. They're really fun. If you're a podcast fan, I'd go ahead and put it in your favorites.
It's a good time.
Cinemaabysmal.com.
Yes.
And then you can find them on Stitcher, iTunes, all that stuff.
Yeah, Spotify now.
And then one more plug. You're doing you're in First Friday this month. Yeah.
Yes, I'm at Hallett's Chocolate on First.
And that's your photography.
Yes.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. It's a fun one.
And then also you have benefit type photo.
Yeah. We've got, as I'm sure like a lot of people have experienced, friends with cancer problems, and we like to, not only me, there's a lot of artists out there in
but
town.
mostly you.
Yeah. I don't want to say that, but my friend Kelly, she's going through a hard time right now with
There's a picture of it was a gal screaming into a mic. If you can find that one. Jason.
She's probably up here. It's not her.
It passed through, but he'll find it.
No, Kelly's going through some hard times right now. There she is, and I was with her band Thigh Gap.
Yeah.
At the observatory, and she's going through it right now. And So we've been doing a lot of benefit shows.
Sure, you raffled off this photo.
Right, yeah. Did some stuff with VHS Art Space, too. They've been doing a lot for Kelly and Susan Weber.
Right, Cody was on our last show.
Yeah, Cody's here somewhere, yeah. But right before this last show, Kelly was going through some really hard stuff, and I decided, I got with Berserk, the people at Berserk, and I was like, hey, man, can we do some sort of thing for Kelly where we raffle off tickets for this photo, which it's not that big a photo, so I didn't expect it to net that much.
Sure.
But I was like, $5 tickets, let's see what happens here. And we ended up doing $340 for it, which
Pretty good.
$5 tickets, that's,
Yeah,
you know.
that's a lot of people.
That's like 68 people, right?
Yeah. I don't know
Average?
math.
Yeah. But yeah, that was kind of cool
Yeah,
to
very
see.
cool.
you know?
Any
Yeah.
other things you have coming up that you want to?
No, I'm taking a break.
Okay.
I'm trying to concentrate on my real job.
Yeah.
You know, like a little bit. I think my bosses are kind of like, dude, what are you doing? But yeah,
you can always find Nick around. He is.
I've got some projects planned for like March, April.
He's out often, and you can find him at Alleyworks on a lot of platforms. So, Nick, thanks so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.